Alright, we're continuing on in our discussion of CSS and our tables, and we're looking at the column grouping attribute, and we're looking at this demonstration here on W3 Schools. The link is for column grouping, and the idea is we can designate a column group so that we can specify not just the rows, but we can also specify the columns that we're going to be using, and we can have columns colored individually, first column, second column, third column. And so what I want to do is I want to take this idea and and use it in our own table. So here is a column. Now this one says it's spanning one. I'm just going to get rid of that. I don't need to make it span more than one. And I'm going to add another one, column style, because I'm going to use 3 rows. And then I can color it. So let's just say we're going to do, let's say we have specific colors in mind. I know if I look at a hexadecimal value chart, and I have one that I like, that I always use, but there's lots of them, and I will use this one here. When I look at this hexadecimal value chart, I can see the hexadecimal values for a variety of colors and shades of gray, if you will. And I'm going to use this CCC, okay? And I'm simply going to just do alternate columns of CCC. I could use any color here. I could use gray. We could use this light yellow, if we will. We could use FF3 to choose this light yellow. It doesn't matter what color we use. But I'm going to go back to this, and if I said, let's say we said hashtag FF3, it should give me that yellow color, okay? And I could choose this. I could make this white, hashtag FF. And then I have another yellow here, or I could change this to some color. So let's just choose another hexadecimal color, maybe a light, some type of green, or we could just alternate. Let's just alternate the columns, just so it doesn't become too garish and kind of ugly. Oh, I'm actually in my web browser, so I'm just going to keep this. Just so it's very simple. Hit run. It's not going to change much, but let's say we're going to do this, alternating yellow tables. I want to add this to my current table that I already have. Control copy. So in my text editor, I've got a simple table made of. I've got 3 rows. I've got my header here, and I've got my rows. And what I want to do is I'm going to add in this column group attribute. I'm going to tab that over, get it lined up properly. Okay. If I hit Control Save right now, go and refresh my own page. Here's my page. If I refreshed it, it automatically gives me those columns, so I have that nice look. Okay, if I continue to kind of build on that, I'm going to use my CSS. I don't have any styles really going in, so this is where I want to add my styles. Now, some of these are basic styles that are consistent across the board, and this one simply has a border. I'm going to copy that. Control copy. I'm going to go down here. I'm going to add that. I'm going to add I don't like all the borders being open, so I'm going to say border collapse. I'm going to pull in my border collapse. I'm going to say collapse, and I'm going to control refresh. I like a simple 2 pixels. I'll see what that looks like. And I'm going to refresh my page. Then I have this. But I don't have to have, it doesn't have to be black. It can be a nice a simple color. It could be something alternate, maybe just a light brown color, something FCC. I could try that and see if I like that. Instead of black here, I could say hashtag FCC. Control save. I'm going to refresh. Fresh. All right, then I've got some nice basic colors. If I want to, then I can obviously change the table width to be 100%, so that it will expand across my entire window. Refresh, and so I can do those kinds of things. So as I go through, I want to continue to kind of style this. Now, I personally I don't necessarily want my page to expand all the way across like that. All right. And so as I go, I can either style it like that, or I could just leave it without a border at all. I could put a border around the outside of it. So when you're starting to do tables like this, and you are wanting to choose colors, one of the best things to do, instead of doing what I'm doing at this particular moment, just kind of throwing some colors in there to see what it looks like, what you want to do is you really want to go to a site or choose. So for example, Adobe Color. If you go here, you can look at different color palettes that would suit the kind of thing that you might be doing, different themes, and colors that work well together. These have a lot of colors that are already in palettes that work together nicely, and you would want to choose a color palette that is appropriate for the types of things that you're going to be doing, whatever your theme might be. So for instance, if you're wanting to just if your site is, for instance, a restaurant, or if this is a menu of some sort, you might have a color palette that is dark like this. That'd be kind of hard to see. So I'm just going to choose this one here. So I've got these nice kind of colors. I can see where they're kind of being drawn from. And over here I can see the hexadecimal values. Here's this brown. Here's this this one, this nice color like this, and this. So what you might want to do is choose these two maybe as your column colors, and this one as a border perhaps. So if I wanted to, I could take this. I'm going to take that color, Control C. I'm going to go in. I'm going to go into my code here, and maybe this will be my first column. Let's just put that value in there. And then I'll go get my other one. Let's say I'll choose this one. I got to make sure I put them in the right spot. I don't want them to be Control Copy. My first column, my second column. Actually, I want this column, and then this column will be the second color, and then this one will repeat. And so I'd want this to repeat. Control Copy, and I'll throw that one in here. Control Save, and I'll refresh my table and see what I end up with. There we go. So that looks a lot better. And then I would probably choose, if I may not even have a border. The colors themselves, I may go with a dark header here. So I may want to put in a header color of that darker color, which is something that I might want to use. Control Copy, because this ties in your actual code a little bit better. But if I did end up putting this color, instead of having this this border color, I could use this dark brown. Control Save as a color, refresh, and then I get that. Now I might not want the box around it all the time. What I probably might want is it might look better just to have, say, my border left. So let's go, I'll change that. Instead of having border all the way around, I'm going to say I won't have a border necessarily. I may put it on my, let's just put it on border left. Control save, and let's see if, like always want to test it out, see if I did it right. Yeah, so I've got my border left, and then I'll put a border bottom on there. And anyway, you can just continue to kind of work with this. Control copy, border, I like going alphabetical, border bottom, and the size is rather large, so I'm going to just reduce the sizes here. Control save, and I may want to just minimize it, so a little bit less. So there, that looks a little bit better. And so as I go, I'm starting to get columns and those things. So as I begin to build this, I am going to begin to kind of customize it the way that I want. Now, what if I wanted that header to be darker? Let's see if we can make that header background color. I'm going to say background. So I'm going to say background color, and this is where I'm going to go get that dark chocolate kind of color palette. I may use that for my header, and I'm going to put that in there. And then I might want to change the color of the text to be something kind of light. So I'm going to go back to here. Maybe I want to put this color in as my font. Now, I don't know. I'm going to just test it out and see if I like it. If I don't, I will change it. Oops, I put that in the wrong spot. And save. And then I'll go back. I'll test it out. I may hate it. I may love it. It's okay. I know that these are the same colors, but I could do something like this. Okay, so I'm going to go on and continue deciding, making the decisions about how big and how I want this to look. Now, one last thing you might want to do is say, look, this table is just kind of hanging out here on the left-hand side. I don't want it to do that. What you can do is then you can add what's called the margin. So just add a margin and then give it the attribute auto so that it will automatically center itself on the page. I'm going to refresh. So now I've got it automatically centered. Okay. If you want to give it a little more distance from this edge, you could say something like margin bottom. And you could say 50 pixels, because it's going to give me a 50 pixels on the bottom. Let's see what happens. Refresh. It gives me 50 pixels space from the bottom of this table, and it pushes this element down. The next element, this is another element here. So what you're going to be doing in this project is you're actually going to be recreating a table that looks something like this and a table that looks something like this. These are just pictures, and you're going to have to look and break this down into its core parts. So on a web page, you're going to have, just like what I've got here, you've got a table up here that's going to be table 1, and you're going to have, well, you don't have to have hoverable table, but you can have you're going to have a caption around it. You're going to have it styled to be a cookie recipes, and the code for that is down here. You can get the cookie recipe text is down here. The next one is in the second spot on your page. So in the lower half, you'll have another division where you'll have your table 2, and you'll have your code for down here for your table 2, and then you'll have this style of a table where you have your colored columns. Make sure you use a color selection